Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Well. If you are listening to this, or maybe watching our faces,
True.
YouTube or a podcast, you have made it once again to Always Strikes Last.
Woo!
One of the best, if not the best, Age of Sigmar podcasts on the internet, where we are competitive but don't take ourselves too seriously.
And also dad jokes.
Yep, I've never taken myself seriously a day in my fucking life. I don't plan on starting.
No, big dad joke energy in this podcast. Pick up on that.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're once again here. This is a trio night. Another Always Strikes Late. You got myself, Jack. You got Rocco, and you got Matt. We'll bring it to you to have a fun discussion on a pretty relevant topic. It's gonna be a hard act to follow. Since last week, we not only had a great guest, we had visuals, which we're going to have to rise to in the future.
Yeah,
seriously,
it's gonna be a lot. Gonna be a lot.
Proud of my locals, man.
Oh yeah, that was excellent. That was excellent. But today, I think we're kind of catch a moment in time here, because if you're like me and you like to be competitive, but you also have competing responsibilities in the real world, there's ebbs and flows to your attention and time you can drive into the tournament scene with. And there's also ebbs and flows to the amount of time you can spend poring over and engaging with new rule sets and cool things. And we have had a deluge right now, right? With all the new books coming out. And really, I think the focus of today's episode is, what do you do when you want to be competitive in this environment? Like, what's a strategy you could adopt, to kind of do something right by yourself, by your models, and hopefully by your record when you actually get to that event. And to set the stage, just to frame it, like at this moment, we have seen the Nurgle book come out. We have seen a Lumineth book come out. We have seen a Saint book come out. There's an OCR Bone Reapers book coming out, and I'm pretty sure we know that there's a Sylvaneth book coming out. That's 5 books.
That is true.
5 books in short order.
This is like the beginning of third all over. If you guys remember that span where it was just like bam, 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 bam.
It was like everywhere. So just couldn't keep it straight. And
this 3-year dev cycle for books, man, let's slow it down a little. Let's stretch this out a little bit, huh?
Let's add units, not books, not editions. I like this edition so far.
I agree with that. Like, I don't mind updated rule sets. I love updated rule sets and tweaks and all that. But the physical book creep is a little bit oppressive. I have this, sad state where I have a bookcase near me, and I look at it, and it's filled with tomes, which are now confusingly similar. Like, which version of the Lumineth book is this? Which version of the Siege book is this? And I gotta carefully sort them and put the ones which are no rather relevant in some sort of archived plastic bin box or something. I don't want to have to do that for a $60.
I have a full system figured out now for how it goes. Is I've got a shelf that has four stories, I guess, right on that shelf. It's one of those old IKEA ones,
Gotcha. So the first shelf was first edition, all the way up to fourth edition.
Yep. So the most current edition will always be on top. That will completely go defunct in the next edition, but for now it works.
Now, as the editions creep up, do all of the tomes and periodicals on the first shelf get cycled out and become like mulch in the garden or something? Or what do you do with them?
No, I like to keep the books. You never know when you're going to miss a certain art style or something.
It's true.
I still own a bunch of second edition 40K codexes, right? I still own Battlefleet Gothic, the rule book, right? I even went and got another one so that I could always have that available. As a graphic designer, the placement and the way that it all fits in. And the composition, etc. All of that is interesting to me purely from a detached, don't care about the rule sense. But then also there's really fun things that I've noticed. I pulled out all of my third edition 40K books, and I've been do a quick read through for them, and then you get to kind of see how the lore has changed in time. The game has changed in time. It's nice for a hoarding retrospective, I guess, if you want to say.
I also can get behind that. Aside, even all my joking aside, I still have old Storm of Magic books and like
Mm-hmm.
Warhammer Fantasy Battle, like
Yep.
tomes hidden away in Eaves.
Got
Which
my
it's nice to
Wood
kind of
Elves
have your
myself.
memories.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wood Elves book and Orcs book, I still got it, and my Chaos book.
Dark Elves
And
book. Just waiting.
the First Cities book too is holding a special place in my heart just because it was a trophy. Because that's what I got with a tournament that I won. I'm like, yep, that was first prize. I'm like, all right. And that set me off onto eventually being a Living Cities player and got me internet cloud enough to eventually lead to this moment.
It's fair. It's awesome.
Being guests on shows to moderating stuff to a YouTube channel to this. So,
the journey all began with the Cities books. Is awesome.
Yeah.
Well,
I won it with Stormcast.
Stuff. But aside from the book bloat in our shelves or our prize pools, I mean, we do have this problem of like needing to figure out these new armies, how to play them, what to do with them, whether we want to be involved in them, if they're fun, or just like how to like rewire all their Blizzard brain instincts on the table. So like, what do you do? Like, what do you do as the player? Hey, Matt, I think you have some thoughts on this one.
Yeah, so I'm currently actually prepping for the Sparkle Party Deathmatch, which is going to happen in the second weekend of March. So it's coming up really quickly, right? And I have a bunch of armies. I can pull out my Tzeentch that I've actually been playing quite a bit now that the Bird book is good, right? But
that's what they say.
I'm hoping it is. The rules look good.
Bird is the word.
Yeah. But I started essentially what I thought of as an art project for myself in the interim, not knowing that 400 books were going to come out. And that's Slaves to Darkness Army. And I'm going to stick with it because
you're gonna flash him a smile, Matt.
Flash him a smile.
Toothy grin.
Nom, 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 nom.
That's just my favorite thing right now. That you must always bring that terrain piece.
Well, I was just going to use it as a piece of terrain, but I have been playing this army quite a bit. And because I wanted to make it like a pseudo art project, but also, enjoy an oops all cavalry list with a couple of things here and there.
Nice.
I'm sticking to it, Slaves of Darkness is going to be in a dependable spot. And
that's true.
My thinking on this is I'm actually playing stuff that people don't run into that much in the way that I'm playing it. And so in addition to all the craziness that people are going to run through, they may know my unit stats, meaning I can get away with probably scaring them into moving here and there, but they haven't seen the army played in the way that I'm going to play it. And I do expect kind of an element of, I guess, brain drain with people trying to keep up with all the new rules and all the new books that we're going to see there, because we know everybody's going to want that new hotness, right?
So Nurgle's scary too.
So hot right now.
So much.
So I'm just sticking to it. I'm sticking to my guns. I did notice that I had 120 extra points, so I have to, speed up and get a sorcerer in this list, which was something that I actually wanted. And
there you go.
I'm going to lean on the fact that this is an older book, meaning the points are going down. I'm getting a little help. And in addition to that, I know the way I want to play it. One of the great parts about this edition is if you know your battle tactics and you've practiced with them, you've got to step up already, regardless of the missions, right? You know what you can and can't do. So I'm going to go ahead and lean on the practiced version of me, not having to remember 200 rules, not having to jump in brand new. I know a lot of people like the excitement of that. I prefer to not go nuts trying to memorize it. That being said, I'm going to have a lot of what the fuck moments because I'm going to have to, ensure that I'm up to speed with everybody else. But I'm not going to waste all my time getting up to speed with everybody else and having to memorize new rules for my army.
I think there's something to that, honestly. Just because not for nothing, we've done this for a while. We played books or armies we've liked and sort of got deep into them. And especially in a world where there's like a lot of noise and new stuff like that, you do have your tricks down. You do have your strategy down. You can sort of like follow your plan. And, maybe there's a lot of power in some of these new books, but someone might be just jumping on that bandwagon and they have to relearn all that in the context of like you doing your stuff right, which means you're probably going to have an easier time winning that game. Even if, once they dial it in, they might be able to do something crazy too.
And to be 100% honest, this is Sparkle Party. Some of the best players in the world show up to Sparkle Party. And, I fully expect them to throw everything at me. But my goal here is not to win, but to get as fast as I can with an art project that I'm proud of. Because, in all honesty, I could go in full balls to the wall, as one would say. And I find that experience just a little bit more frustrating. I know for myself, having to play with a new book is just not fun, especially if I haven't had any practice time in it, if I haven't lost with it yet, I know I've said it before, but losing games is just as rewarding in practice as opposed to winning them, So yeah, I'm excited to take these up there because I'm also focusing again on the art aspect of this, right? I am doing like a fully grimdark army, which you don't really see much in AOS, and it's kind of exciting and refreshing as opposed to all the cartoonified stuff that we do see a lot of painting.
It's awesome when it comes together. I am very much excited to see this particular project of yours come to life, and that's its own reward, right? One of those games you can focus it. You don't get distracted. You don't buy like 4 armies worth of models across 8 armies without anything you can actually play. You just keep getting distracted or ever finished. It's slow and steady wins a race.
Well, and I'm gonna also say, like, out of respect to my opponents as well, like I know Sparkle Party is actually really cool on this. They have a rule where if this is your first tournament, there is no painting requirement, which is awesome. That's a great way to pull in.
It's amazing, people.
But if you've played a tournament before, you got to have painting requirements. And, I kind of love that because it puts a lot less of those, well, how does this rule work? Well, now I got to go get a TO. Well, now I got to do this. Well, now I got to go do that, on both players. And
because
it also,
of the familiarity. That makes sense.
And it also like reduces that amount of feel bads of, hey, look at all of this time that I put into this army, even if it doesn't look good, right? And then somebody sets a gray across the table from you, which I personally, everybody has their own feelings about it. But for me, I find that a little disrespectful. Take some time. Put three colors on your model at the very least.
The GT environment, I'm very much a big agreeer of that. I think RTTs, I don't feel that way because I think it's a nice playground to actually play with your physical models and see your friends when you're still figuring it out. But you don't go to the big GT with the models which don't like help you tell the story because that's why you pay the entry fee and travel.
Like an RTT, 100% makes it that totally in agreement. When it comes to a GT where this is going to be my entire weekend, right?
Yeah, and if you've got people from Oregon, Idaho, Cali, Washington, of course, and then throughout Canada coming out to go to Sparkle Party, you want to go put your best foot forward.
Yeah. And there's also, like, I think maybe it's from the 40K days, but there's an immediate reaction that I have to somebody just setting a gray army up on the table, which is, this guy is just here to whack. right?
Yeah.
And for me, that kind of play is probably the least fun because there's no enjoyment for my opponent unless they're winning, which means all the conversations are based around that. And again, Warhammer's really just a conversation between two people.
Yep.
Some dice and some models are involved, right? So
you're telling that story. This big epic clash between two forces arrayed against you on the field of battle, and it's like, yeah, the Grey Legion, they're here. It's cool. They're armed to the fucking teeth. I picked this up from a few lots and things. I paid someone to build it for me and did all this. And
I had this other army that's fully painted. It's beautiful, but I didn't feel like playing it. So I put together all of this other army 2 days beforehand.
Yep. Because this is the hardest thing.
Right.
And I can get best general without having to worry about a paint requirement. So here I am,
Yeah. So for me,
Chucky, here's all the cheese.
Yeah. For me, I'm sticking to my guns. I think even if I were to go and lose every single game, I would still be able to set these up on a table and just be like, I am proud of the work that I did. Right. Mm-hmm. That being said, I don't think they're going to do badly because I have been trying to keep up with the new rules as much as possible.
Mm-hmm. You have a plan, you're saying, Matt, with this.
Oh,
you got a little quiet, Jack.
Yeah, we lost your mic.
Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Nope.
Not really.
So one of the things that I know I'm going to run into trouble with, but I also have a good counter for it, is Tzeentch and Lumineth especially. Yeah. Those two, I'm using cavalry. They may have some anti-cavalry stuff, but I've also got a lot of really, really munchy anti-infantry, which is predominantly what what both those armies have, right?
Nerds hate being punched.
Mm-hmm. So
and being thrown in lockers and run over by horses. It's really odd how that works out in real life too, but
Yeah, and then
you guys hear me now?
Yes, but you're a little soft still.
I think it's your mic on your headphones.
Yeah, I think it.
But it shouldn't be.
Dun, dun, dun. So
yeah.
Well, we'll have some technical difficulty time. I need to find that technical difficulty music that I made back in like the first year of this podcast.
Oh.
That would be helpful.
Hey,
there he is.
It's back. That's nice. Some weird input thing.
Yeah.
I was just kind of agree with that general sentiment. But I'm really curious about your army now, Matt. What's your plan? Maybe this is a good story time. If you can share it. I know Sparkle Party has these sharks out here. You want to catch them out. But.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna kill all the sharks, or the sharks are all gonna get it and they'll one up me. No, mine are actually. This list is pretty simple. And
we all gas, no brakes.
All gas, no brakes as always, with one little speed bump. Okay. As I like to do. So for this, what I'm bringing is essentially, as I like to do, 3 little mini armies, 3 little blobs that can work in concert as needed.
Okay.
So first, it's going to be 4 regiments actually. First regiment is Chaos Lord and Demonic Mount, 2 units of Chaos Knights, and a Dark Oath Wilderfiend.
5 strong or 10 strong? 5 strong?
Just 5 strong.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm still debating whether I'm going to put him in one of the units into a 10 strong. But he's also got... and the app froze on me. You got to love it. It's technical difficulty time these days. I think he's also... Let me make sure I got the thing open here. First of all, the list is named One List to Lose Them All, and in the dice rolls, bind them to the shelf until next year.
Nice. A little wordy, but I like it.
But yeah, there's no artifacts on the guy. Lord on Demonic Mount, 2 Chaos Knights, Dark Oath Wilder Fiend, and then one more regiment of the same. So 2 of the same regiments, both Chaos Lord on Demonic Mount, 2 units Chaos Knights, and a Dark Oath Wilder Fiend, right?
Yeah.
Second regiment is Centurion Marshal with Deathmonger and the Verret Knight Shackle.
Ooh.
And he's got a Slaughter Brute hanging out with him. Oh, it is only 3 regiments. No, it is 4. I'm a dum-dum. Can't count. And then the 4th regiment is just a Chaos Sorcerer Lord. Wow. And that's it. And so
Was this the Sorcerer Lord you just added because you had the 120 points, or do you still have 120 points to fill?
No, it's because of the 120 points.
Okay,
I realized that I had a whole of, a bunch of people getting their spells off and ruining my day last time that we tested.
Yeah, that'd do it. That'd do it.
As far as manifestation lore, I've got Primal Energy. Because that's big blocky bases. That's great for healing the knights.
Yep.
As well as adding some shooting with Burning Head, right?
Yeah.
So I've kind of got everything cornered there. And then because I'm a glutton for punishment, I'm going to be doing Scouting Force and Wrathful Cycles again.
Okay. You do love your Wrathful Cycles.
You really
I love Scouting Force more so, though.
Yeah, you do pick good lists for that.
But this one is actually going to be a very, very light on the amount of Scouting Force units. So that's going to be the real problem. I did have the ability
Wilder Fiends do count, right?
No, because they're beasts.
They're beasts.
Oh, shit, they are.
So it's only going to be 4, which if somebody wants to try and neuter me there, then I'll definitely be good for Wrathful Cycles, right?
Okay.
So again, I don't expect to win much. It was either paint what I want to paint, or just do too many Marauder Horsemen to make myself happy and calm before the actual tournament.
I will say, I was just thinking about that giant box of Marauders you bought, beautiful old world ones. So those, our hand would fall off from all the painting, but you would definitely win some pretty good style points, and it would do well.
Eventually, that will be great. Just moving towards 1 unit of chaos, or 1 Chaos Lord on Demonic Mount. And then having a lot more of the smaller horsemen. But at the moment, it's kind of do I want to put stuff on the board that I'm happy with, as far as where its paint completion is, or do I want to not, right? For me, I feel much better if I have consistently painted units sitting on the board.
And it's not a bad list. Don't get us wrong.
It's going to be a challenging list to play, but there's a method to the madness, and that's that I can bunch up each of those first 3 regiments into their own little Death Stars if I want, right?
Yeah.
And the Dark Oath Wilder Fiend can just run every turn up behind the Knights. Or, and this is where deployment is really crucial for this army, because I'm using Chaos Knights as kind of the shield.
Yeah.
For alpha strikes. So if I lose anything, right, the amount of wounds that I lose go right into the Dark Oath Wilder Fiends, who then nuke them on the following turn.
Yeah.
So good for that.
And so each of those, starting a big blob, each of those hang out and do their worst. And if somebody does Alpha Strike, then I have the Sorcerer Lord there with, at that point, because of the terrain, probably a +1 to cast for a fight's last on a unit. Maybe I can pile into them, right? So that's how I'm going to deal with the Alpha Strike.
So talk to me about the Slaughter Brute here. What's that Warskill looking like these days?
So
spicy.
So first, in order to talk about the Slaughter Brute, we need to talk about the Centaurian Marshal. Now, we did go into this in one of our Why Slaves to Darkness Feel So Oppressive episodes, but the recap here is this and the regiment that I'm using, the battalion that I'm using is the one that gives +2 attacks to every hero. So
good.
A lot a lot of smacky smacks, right?
Yeah.
Even the sorcerer is actually now kind of scary in combat.
Yeah.
But Centurions are 8-inch move, 10 health, 2 control, 4 and up save. In this list, there'll be 8 attacks with 3s and 3s, -1 rend, or 1 rend, 2 damage, +1 damage on the charge. So a lot of kind of scary to anybody with a 4 and up save, right?
Yeah.
Zinch. Lumineth.
Yeah.
But the cool thing about them is they have Marshal of the Legions, which is a fight trigger. And what they do is they pick a friendly non-hero demon or Chaos Legionnaires unit that it hasn't fought. They can then fight. The target can be picked to use a fight ability immediately after, and they get +1 to hit rolls. So pretty good, right? But it only works on a non-hero demon or Chaos Legionnaires unit.
Yeah.
Now we look at the Slaughter Brute. Slaughter Brute, 10-inch move.
It's real nice.
14 health. 5 control, 4 and up save. I'm going to start at one of the abilities, and that's the Sigils of Domination.
Please.
So I'll pick a friendly Slaves to Darkness hero within the unit's combat range to be the unit's master. For the rest of the battle, while they're within combat range, and they both have comparable, movement.
Yeah.
You add 1 to the number of dice rolled when making charge rolls for the unit to a maximum of 3. Pretty good. 3d6 charge. Yeah. And the unit can ignore the effects of companion weapons abilities on its weapons, meaning he gets that +1 to hit from Homeboy Centurion. So now that you've seen, now that you've seen this pizza pie and putting it in the oven here, it's got 2 attacks from the Mighty Jaws, 4s and 2s, rend 1, 3 damage. Okay, so that is now 10 attacks, 3s and 2s and 3s, right?
Yeah.
-1 rend, 3 damage each on the charge from both him and the Centaurian.
Yep.
Pretty nasty, right? Now the other part, which I'm feeling will actually be very helpful against, more of the other side of the equation that we could run into, which is, a lot of foot troops that may have a 3 and up save, is the Razor Tip Claws. These are anti-infantry +1 rend, 8 attacks, 4s and 2s, 1 rend native, 2 damage each. So that's a lot of...
And that would also be down to a 3 to hit because of the +1.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
A lot of pain on a 3d6 charge.
I don't remember. I remember their abilities, but I don't remember them having that many attacks. That's great.
It's subtle. It's subtle because like the war scroll has been subpar for so long. I'm thinking of Slaughter Brute specifically, that people just look at it and sort of underestimate it. Mm-hmm. And when you just get this exact combination of things together, it can really punch the way you would want the model to punch. So it's going to be really cool. I think you'll catch some people out with that, Matt. And I really like your list because it does have the moving anvil thing. I actually think of Chaos Knights as anvils more than as hammers, in a lot of places, because that footprint is just so good for blocking stuff and getting where you need to be for it. Mm-hmm. But it can do the dual role, and that's a pretty big little hammer scalpel you have there to go take care of a problem. And not for nothing, like this in this edition, like we said before, things that can lurk in woods just have advantages, and Wilder Fiends are all about that. They sit there, they're basically invisible, and they can spew fireballs and even hit things which are invisible because you don't need line of sight for that particular ability. And
they're also fairly decent in combat. Like they're not bad in combat.
They're a better chaos spawn for sure.
The real reason that I like the Slaughter Brute, though, is because of the 3d6 charge. As long as he starts within 3 inches of the Centurion Marshal, that means that he can run in. I can countercharge and catch somebody off guard. And he's 5 control. So if I'm going up against some small unit on the flanks and this little blob is moving up on a flank, that's pretty easy to kill right away.
Yeah.
And he does have one more rule. One
Oh,
more
please.
rule. He does have a rampaging charge, which it's rampage.
Yeah.
But you pick an enemy unit within 1 inch, any charge phase. So they can't do a fly away from me kind of thing in
Yeah.
the combat phase, right? Roll a d3 on a 2+, inflict an amount of mortal damage on the target equal to the roll. If it's infantry, double the amount of mortal wounds.
That's nice.
Yeah, so like it's a blender. It's a
Yeah.
blender that you can just like shoot into a unit, sacrifice it if you need. Because the Centurion's got enough attacks, and if he's just charging around with him, they're there as good support pieces, just in the same way that like Wilderfiends are support pieces. But the real way that I think about it, and this is where I feel like we got one upped on our last episode. I should have made a little PDF that I could show you guys. Is depending on the army that I'm going against, I could start with all of the knights section in one area and then set the Wilderfiends off with the other unit, with the other units, and then I have these two blobs of, hey, cool, I just killed an insane amount of infantry because of this charge in one turn, and now they're just right.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of utility because I think it's phase, right? When the Wilderfiends get it. You don't flash. Yeah. So each time a model or friendly within it, you give it a sacrifice. And like it's easy. That's really easy to get up to 12 points.
Yeah.
If you're going up against infantry, which I suspect we'll see quite a bit. If I run into, horrors or something, they're going to have a field day.
Skaven too, they're ever popular.
So like, I think in this element, I have a lot of those bases covered. The knights are knights. They're chonky. They got 3-and-up saves.
Yeah.
The one thing that, I didn't use in playtesting, which I'll probably use in pretty much every game, is just give them all Mark of Tzeentch and have them bounce out of combat if I don't want them in there.
Yeah.
Like that only comes from not picking up a new book. It comes from, hey, where was the mistake last time? Let's focus on this book. Let's focus on this list.
And it's such a complete book, as we've covered so much, that it can adapt to this new meta shift. It's nice.
Yeah, there's definitely some refinements, I think, which comes out of like the way in which you're playing it, which is great. You can kind of like learn the tricks and find good ways to make it work for you. You've run around a block a bit with it in terms of the tactics, so you kind of know your plan with like the wrathful cycles and with the scouting. So I'm there for it. I think that's probably not a bad way to approach this tournament. Even this timeline, right now. I know that for myself, I'm still questing to unlock the secrets of the Chaos Dwarves or the Hellsmiths, as they call them. And it just requires more tinkering and more practice. So as much as some of these new things are pretty alluring and cool, or will present new thorny challenges on the field, it's got to keep showing up with them to create some of that muscle memory and to refine how to deal with their inability to deal with tactics.
And that's kind of the thing, right? Like in the end, you're playing your game now with battle tactics. Like your battle tactics will influence your opponent's decision, and like they can be changed by it. But in the honest end, like you do have the power to shape like a lot of how your game is going to be played before you set your models up on the table, right? So like I think going into a tournament where I'm honestly not going to have digested all of Lumineth, let's be 100% honest. I always
digested the last index or book, Matt.
I get cross-eyed as soon as I look at that book. And I know Tzeentch is one of the kind of scarier books at the moment just because of its movement capabilities, right? One thing I do know with Siege, if they're going to be played properly, they're not going to have scouting force. So I don't have to worry about trying to match that like aggressiveness because
No,
of
I
all the
concur.
teleporting, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So like from a very base level, I know that unless somebody else is leaning into like objective control, that means like and a lot of the books lately haven't felt like they really lean into speed for objective controls. We talked about a couple of like fly lists for Nurgle,
Yeah.
and we know that like Huracan and chariots and the birds are going to be good for getting up quickly. I don't know if we'll necessarily see that for a little while, right? So I don't know, feeling halfway confident, but like it really comes from like, okay, these are the models I want to see on the table. How do I make it
Yeah.
work, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's the best way to approach a lot of these like book spam. Like, we see our friends in the Discord coming up with new armies every other day, right? I'm like, oh my God, this is going to be terrifying. Like, don't get me wrong. I am 100% pooping my pants thinking about OBR getting on the field. 100%. I think that army is going to be broken. It's going to be broken. But the core fact is like, I know what I can do. How many other people are going to be able to say that playing new armies right out of the box, right?
I mean,
How many test games can you get in 2 weeks? Some people, a lot, using TTS, which highly recommend.
And if you have a gaming club that's got enough people where you can get a couple nights into practice, you could do it the old-fashioned way too. But like I said, it's why I can't really ever quit my Deepkin. It's my comfort army. It's my place I go to. I'm like, okay, yeah, I know all these rules cold. I don't need to worry about how to micromanage shit. Let me play the macro game. Let me play the board. Let me play the scenario. Let me play the battle plan.
Yeah, and that's just frankly a less stressful way to play the game, especially if you want to win the game. And I get it. There's something to be said for playing all the new stuff and having fun with that. Like a lot of players do enjoy that, and I'm not knocking that. I think, whoop, dang.
I saw the paint pot you were shaking. How bad was it?
Oh no, this is one of the for anybody who still uses like game color paints, of which I have quite a bit of. Sometime after time, those the tops will just detach and come off with your lid. So, warning for anybody who's picking up a set. That's going to happen. But yeah, I mean the comfortability of playing the army is, for me, also like the same way that I get joy out of the game. So
I think there's some legs in that particular approach. There is a lot of fun to try like the new concept, what are these books, but of course there's a lot of trial and error, and maybe the tournament's not the place for it, when you want to have a good result. And there's a different sort of satisfaction you get from walking into what isn't the new hotness with one of your lists, and then sort of like meticulously making it work for you, which is just something you can chase with this. Say nothing to the fact that it'll look pretty with all of the paint you're putting on. Total aside on that, Matt. I hope that you have at least one like character, maybe the sorcerer, holding up like some wire so they can be the loyal retainer to that.
That's great. That's awesome. We did say dad jokes at the beginning, didn't we?
I know, but I give the people what they wanted.
I think one of the other things too is like, we tend to flex our muscles during the game, but this is still for people who love it, a hobby, right? One of the things that can bring you a lot of joy is sitting down and finishing a goal.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
I mean,
and that can happen outside of a tournament, and then
oh
you get
God,
to
yeah.
display it at the tournament, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And it's one of those things where, people have said for a very long time, most of what you're going to be doing is building and painting your stuff.
Mm-hmm.
For most people, you may be getting a game a month, unless you're doing a tournament where you'll get 3 or 5, or if it's some crazy hardcore thing, they're gonna have it be a 3 day with a runoff and there's brackets. But that's rare as hell.
Mm-hmm.
And as much as we do focus on tournaments and all the hardcore competitive stuff and how we're silly with it and trying to make lists of our misfit toys work, this is still mostly a hobby. So we got to get to painting and crafting and being creative.
That is the ultimate payoff, right? And I think it's good to retain sight of that. I mean, because that's as you were saying, Rocco, outside of like the game itself and what you're going to be familiar with and what's going to be really fun when you get going with it, you do want to have that army ready for the big events. And that
Mm-hmm.
takes a fair amount of concerted attention and both in the gaming side, but also in just the modeling side. You're not going to do it if you jump from project to project unless you're like a madman or madwoman in terms of your painting speed. I know for me, it takes a dog's age. Like my arc to have the Hellsmiths ready for an actual tabletop is definitely the summer at
Yeah,
best. At best.
no, 100%.
But
Uh,
there is something to be said though about in let's be honest. In a very uncertain world, setting a hobby goal in Warhammer
yeah.
can reward you just as much, if not more, than setting a winning goal.
Oh God,
Especially
yeah.
in times when there are a bunch of books where you don't know what's going on. And like, we always talk about, like you were saying, Rocco, oh, what's the Achilles? What's the best combos? What's this, right?
Mm-hmm.
And talk through a tournament lens, but like being able to set a goal and achieve it on your own can actually be one of the healthier things that you can do.
Mm-hmm.
And when you show up with that goal achieved, like no one can take that away from you. Nobody can steal a win. And in my case,
Yeah.
you can't roll all ones for like 3 turns straight, you know?
You could try, Matt. You come pretty close sometimes.
I've done it in practice games with this, and now I know what that looks like.
Yeah.
So now I know what
Got
not
out
to do.
rerolling ones. Come back
Yeah.
Oh, yes,
as a
indeed.
rule in a channel. But it's also, I feel like the happiest people in Warhammer are the people who just like buy the one kit because it looks neat. They paint up a hero and then they move on.
Mm-hmm.
And there's something to learn from that.
There very much is. Like spamming units to get them done and get them out is, some people love to do it. Some people don't take the hobby part as much as they want. I would highly encourage it, like the act of putting something together in the little time that you have and setting a reachable goal that you can attain and be proud of. Looking at the Chaos Marauder Horseman,
Yep.
like I was talking about earlier, like that's not an attainable goal for me to be happy with putting them up.
Mm-hmm.
But setting an attainable goal and finishing it within your time constraints is really, really helpful for winning that tournament before you even get there. Because you're proud of your work.
Yeah, and you don't have to be. I'll name drop different people for different reasons. You don't have to be a Ricky Fisher. You don't have to be an Adam Trunzo for their Midwest people too. That shout out Michigan. And you don't have to be the next Vince Venturella. And I think I hit enough big names of enough niche online places to get. You don't have to be the best painter or hobbyist in the world. You just have to paint, make it. And you can make it better later just to go and have that experience. Just, just shut your mind off to the world. Just be like, okay, cool. What's the best way to paint yellow? Cool. We get a brown undercoat. We do with this. We do with that. A light primer, a dark primer. And you'll just learn things that you've never thought of and just come out all the happier. just because you even tried to put paint on a brush,
Dude,
or through a spray gun or a rattle can where you got some cool tip or something to go and do a zenithal highlight, or we still call it slap chop. I don't know if the fade stop.
Well, you do a zenithal for a slap chop, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, like, I'm trying a new technique, which I have enough time built into, which is super glue reduction painting technique. Because I want veins that look fucking gnarly on my arms.
Oh,
so
yeah.
like getting that goal, and this is more specifically towards like getting you in the headspace of being able to walk into a tournament.
Wait, Matt, before we get too into this, say explain the technique.
Oh, okay. So
because that's going to be a really fucking cool thing.
So essentially what you do is on flesh, you can do this for like multiple different things, right? But basically you paint something, and then on top of that, that coat that you did, you completely brush on super glue. And so you let the super glue dry completely, and then you can either airbrush or put a wash on of whatever color you want these veins to look like. So in my case, I'm looking for like full like Arnold Schwarzenegger arms for my Centurion and a couple of other things, right? Yeah. So what you then do is, after that's completely dry as well, you get some isopropyl alcohol and you get a brush and you just dab spots. And what that will do is it will react to the paint and the super glue underneath and cause it all to congeal together. And then you get these little spider-like veins. So you can get varicose veins or He-Man bodybuilder veins on your model. And it actually provides the texture and everything. So it's like a very cool technique that you can look out for. I'd highly recommend trying it.
See, and I thought we were going to talk about, how you took a hammer to some people to get some teeth, but that's so much cooler.
So that's the story we don't tell on live.
but that's the thing. And like, maybe people won't notice it. Maybe they will. But I know that I'm going to be confident in my plan. I'm going to be confident in my army. I know that people are going to see it and go, wow. I'm going to set myself up for success in the tournament by not worrying about all of the crazy iterations of all the lists of all the rules I don't know, right? Setting yourself up mentally for consistency on every other thing. So when the inconsistent thing comes in, you can go, well, that's fucked, but I'm still feeling good, right? I didn't hinge my tournament on going 5-0 or 4-1, right?
Yeah. Go for that paint award.
Yeah. Well, I think Ricky's actually playing in this one. It's either Ricky or Matt. Those two are generally.
Well, it makes it a little more difficult, but still, I mean, you're in the running because you have a very different approach to the Grimdark and the scheme. I mean, that's its own neat thing. The varicose vein techniques will certainly, hopefully, catch the eye of a painting judge. But no, I still think I'm gonna key in on the holistic satisfaction of going in and controlling what you can control. Because as we've spoken about before in the channel, especially like in the environment we're in right now, your 4-1 or your 5-0 is always contingent on luck, like we're talking about last week, a little bit, in addition to good play. And one of the easiest ways to make mistakes is to be faced with something you just don't know. And you just walk right into it. Like you always get one, right?
Yeah.
And there's such a heightened chance of that in an environment with all this new stuff in, because you just might have the toolkit to deal with it, and you're just not going to know until you've stumbled through those potholes a few times.
Yeah.
So what you can control is showing up with the army you want to play and having your plan. And your plan, if it's refined and thought through, it means that you're more likely to power through those little misunderstandings or, oh, that's how it works, And if it's the army you've been working on, you're more likely to be happy you're sitting there in round 3 and whatever record playing with your cool models with your new friend who has a cool model.
And that's the big thing too, right? Like a positive mindset will help you out of situations that could have gone poorly, right? Because you're able to take stock not of the mistakes that you've made, you're able to acknowledge those, but you're able to take stock on the pathway out, right? Figuring out how to dig yourself out of the hole that you may have gotten in by missing an interaction when you're trying to prep for the tournament, right? For your opponent's army. And keeping a positive mindset is essential, I think, to a lot of like winning mentalities when it comes down to it. Because if you're like, oh, that screwed me, I'm never going to get out of this. Yeah, you're never going to get out of it. And it's a self-fulfilling prophecy at some point, right? Oh, I can't win this game. Okay, I shouldn't try for that 3d6 charge that I know I have using my
demonic
slaughter
speed.
brute, right?
Oh yeah, that's right. He just has it. Yeah.
So like, there's something to be said about prepping yourself for consistency and ensuring that you have the motivation, like the inherent motivation, to mentally be able to step up to the plate and say, wait, no, this is a game I can win. Because that's not always the easiest thing to do at a tournament.
True story. I think that's a good lesson to internalize. All these good thoughts on tournaments to play and enjoying what you love, as well as getting a few reps in, would be remiss if we did not plug the fact that we do have another ASL Slow Roll tournament starting up in a few weeks, the very beginning of March. So when this comes out, you'll still have time to sign up, dear listeners, if you're interested. Just remember, join the Discord, become a Patreon at a low level, and it is there for you. We have a lot of fun with these.
We do.
And
a very successful first year running all of these. Here's to year 2.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, the community has gotten better and better with each one of them, which I'm super proud of, and proud of all the people in the Discord just being the best people.
Yeah.
We have a good crew.
Yeah. We do. It's a good time.
That being said, they're all going to whip us with this new Zinch book.
We're going to get our asses kicked this time around, boys. It's going to be rough.
What am I going to see, Rocco? What I know you've taken much more deeper of a look than I have at the Zinch book, because I haven't received mine yet.
Yes, I have read the sacred texts. And one of the things that really stood out to me, besides the teleporting and there's no destiny dice anymore, they changed the mechanics around,
which I'm very happy about.
I am too, because you'd run into it enough times and you'd accidentally knock up. Like, I had to take a picture before every game in case they got moved or knocked over, the table got bumped or whatever, or then you'd run into assholes that may or may not maliciously knock them over themselves. Glad that mechanic's done and gone. Fuck it. And we know of all the teleporting shenanigans. I think there's like 6 different ways to either bring shit up or down and around the table, and bring it back now, y'all. One hop this time. There's so many things. But what I'm really excited about as a Zinch player is we have a couple different ways through I'll say it was the Exalted Flamer off the top of my head. And I believe someone's got a spell on them somewhere to hand out -1 to wound.
Yep.
And this should be an army that elves hate to see coming. Anyone that wounds on, and humans too, you wound on a 4, good luck, buddy. You're going to wound on a 5. Have fun. Those lovely monsters that normally wound on 2s will be out on 3s. Mathematically, it's horrible. But, there are so many fun debuffs and minuses to hit as well that you can make that 4-up or 5-up armor save that you're rocking feel nearly invincible, because they don't get enough dice through to really do damage to you.
Fun.
Yeah, it makes them deceptively strong to just sit around. Do you think we'll see many Exalted Flamers? I don't think I'll see many. When I looked at the book, it felt like there was so much to be plumbed from the depths.
There is so much to be plumbed, and I'm excited for it.
And I won't lie, I've been playing that
regular Flamers, I think also, because they changed what used to be the burning keyword to be if you get hit by a Flamer. It does. like what I'm thinking of. Like you could still burn and do mortal wounds, and then that also applies to debuff. So
yeah, which is nice. They didn't need that as like a keyword salad for a while.
No.
But it is something to be aware of, right? Like
it is.
It's
a book of debuffs.
It is a book of debuffs, but not in a nurgly way.
No.
That's going to be interesting to look out for. I think I'm going to have to stick with my plan. I don't understand the book in this particular tournament and just do some shooting.
Yep.
Honestly, I truly hope I run into a player that is playing an Oops All Zangors. Because if they do well, I just want to get smacked by a unit of Zangors that has more than one rend, because that's all they needed. Or sorry, Zangor Enlightened.
Yeah.
That's all they needed.
Yeah.
It was just an extra rend at some point.
Yeah. And they changed the regular foot Zangor, so they always have the crit 2 hits, but then they get an extra thing if they're in enemy territory now. So that's exciting as well.
Yeah, but they did lose that damage 2 spam that they were capable of, which
special weapons.
I'm a little sad about, but also super happy that I don't have to call it out anymore. I think the simplification of these books has actually been kind of nice. Even though, some people will argue, oh, it's less depth. It's like, yeah, but there's more units, man. Go use more units. You don't need them all in one.
Yeah.
I think of all the things that I think I'm most scared about in that book, I think it was there's a Magister combo. Where you do some really nasty stuff. Yeah. And the endless spells are great too now.
Oh god, yeah. Now that and the terrain piece to be able to have functionally a spell portal. In order to kill the whole thing off, you got to kill both halves of it. And if you leave one half alive, it just spawns a new half.
Yep.
And every time one of the halves dies, it generates a fate point for you.
And it moves, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I believe it does. But the other thing, too, is the new fate point system. That is something, because, again, we lost the dice. Where it's like if, it's the stupid meme of always as planned or just as planned with Tzeentch. Where it's like, if you have a spell unbound on you, I think if you do implode by rolling double ones on casting, there's a whole table of all the ways you can mess up. You get a fate point, and it feels like a very nice comeback mechanic, and it feels like I still don't think you necessarily generate them fast enough, because if you are generating them fast enough, things have gone so horrifically wrong. Like even if you lose a roll off for the turn priority, you generate a fate point. And you want probably 3 or 4 on you to do some cool abilities and stuff. You can use them to give yourself bonuses to your charge. There's a damage reduction way to spend them. There's different ways to go about it, which is really cool. And it's very much almost like an "I'm sorry you fucked up. Here you go," catch up mechanic situation. Get back in there, Tiger. Tzeentch is trying to give you a little bit of support and love.
It feels fitting for the army in a way I didn't expect, though. Because Tzeentch used to be a go big or go home. Like the dice even the Destiny dice even like supported that, right? Because they're like, okay, well, I've got to make all this happen right here, or this game's probably a little bit toast.
Yeah. So and then they made it so it's like, hey, did you want a grand strategy for your army? You have Destiny dice equal to a 9 at the end of the game, and you're like, cool. Function that just makes me pull one of my 6s or whatever, or a 5 and a 4, because the Destiny dice were just so good. They were like, okay, we're going to build it in a way, give them less to really work with if they really want these extra points.
But the thematicism I was hearing about the new book does sound fun. I'm going to see it in play, but I don't know. I'm not nearly as afraid of Tzeentch as I am of Lumineth, but that's probably because I haven't read the Tzeentch book.
Well,
the thing
give me a layup on Lumineth, because what I've seen from Lumineth not only breaks my brain, as it should, but it does also it makes those independent armies, like independent factions, look really scary again.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Well, I'll give you the quick TLDR, and
Okay.
certainly all of our dear listeners have probably already read this cover to cover and know it better than me. But the scary thing is that it makes an elite army feel even more elite in a way which is really compelling and powerful, because they've replaced kind of like the battle trait with this rune system where, I guess they're doing geomantic runes always, right? That's kind of the Lumina thing. So it does follow the lore.
What's a dwarf, man? Who needs it?
Yeah. But it's basically, they do some calligraphy every turn, and based upon the runes they've inscribed, they get these battle effects kind of board wide. And there are some units with the sort of rune already on their war scroll, so they kind of count as one additional one, or who get additional benefits from having those runes present. And they can end up turning some of the units we know and love for the Lumineth into real scary powerhouses, depending on which way they want to go.
Yep.
So all the extra rules that you can just pile on mean that the army has incredible flexibility because you choose your order every battle. And if you do build into themes, you can get some deceptively incredibly strong units kind of at the drop of a hat. I think one example I'm remembering from some of the stuff I read would be like the Stone Guard. They've always had cute tricks to make them a little bit tougher or harder to rend. Well, they just blew right through all those things and decided that they're going to, in the presence of stone runes, have a 3-up armor save and have a 5-up ward save. And I think there was some more stuff in there too, if you can kind of pile on with it, so.
Yep.
Yeah, if you had one of the mountain cows, there was a thing to go with it. It comboed well with some other runes within there. It's so it's modular. It allows you to adapt to any situation.
Mm-hmm.
And it's such a complete army in their roster as well. Sorry, man. Let me just get this out. It's just such a complete roster of, and they do have a war machine. They do have light cav. They do have heavy cav. They've got skirmishers in the river, blades or whatever. They've got the heavy elite swordsman and the banner blade. And you get all this stuff in here. It's like it is such a great toolbox army that also is full of awesome wizards, and you want to take everything. And, the points are looking really nice right now for them to be able to fit a lot of the stuff you want.
Absolutely. And we'll have to do a deep dive onto that book and give an episode like the real blow of it like we do with Nurgle sometime soon. But I do know that you could be staring across the table at one of those, and they can just choose exactly the sequence they need to sort of deal with you. Because even if you have units which maybe have a theme built in, like the mountain cows or the stone wardens or the river blades, you can just pick the rune that gives you a powerful effect, and that effect is still prevalent. I think like the 5-up ward off the mountain, you just pick a couple of units and they get it.
Yeah,
like point and click 5-up ward.
They juice up real quick.
Yeah, you get it on, I believe, 2 units. And then if you just choose it again, you can just choose 2 other different units for that round to have it.
Exactly.
And then that can stack with because Techless has a thing too where you could have it so you can either choose an extra rune or things count as if you had other runes active. And they're very much a 5-round army now. I think.
Yeah, that's right. Well, I mean, maybe a 5-round army that feels like it's over pretty quick. I mean, they have some stuff I know which is supposed to trigger a little later game to be really strong, depending on how you've calligraphied your runes. But one of the ones I'm thinking of, as they're coming back to me, is there's some sort of rune of the Zenith, which you can only unlock if you've, I think, done the other runes. So like
it's like around 4 or around 5.
Around 4, that's right. But if you have Techless, because his like Rings Elementary or something count as a rune, you could maybe do it round 3. And if I'm not misremembering, that one gives you crit sort of 5-up.
Yep.
Board wide, which is pretty crazy.
Yeah, it turns everything up to 10. And then like I'm actually really interested in seeing if anybody rolls back in with Oops All Foxless, because they're not heroes, they're not unique anymore. They are completely something that you can just spam, which is really cool. I'm going to have to dig mine out of their little boxes at some point and play the Wind Rider. Oops, all Wind Riders.
Well, fun.
But yeah, like I think they're going to be one that's definitely going. I know I'm going to run into them. It's just going to happen.
And Techless does have to roll for spells now, which is nice.
Yep, finally.
Yeah. But he got really good quality of life changes, and again, seems worth it. Is this a bods not God situation? I don't know.
Oh, I think so. I think that army does much better without Techless, just because of the runes.
Yeah.
And almost.
Wait, are you saying with or without Techless, Matt?
Without Techless. I think they do much better because just the points that you can then spread in and like just absolutely steamroll your runes in the right situation.
They've got good foot heroes, man. Even the new one they just got that's cheap as hell that could do like a mortal wound thing with the spearman. It just makes enough sense. Even though the archers aren't doing mortals anymore, they're just still good.
Yep. And they're cheap.
Yeah.
They're super cheap. Can't say I got the stone done here. Got that good old East Coast red brick.
Hell yeah.
I do love it. Love it.
But yeah, I mean, I'm interested in seeing how crazy it's going to get. But I think sticking to what I know will help me in that situation. They're going to be scary. I think we'll probably see even more Nurgle, which will be super fun. I'll get to see people play test and even Nurgle.
Yeah.
I'd love to see Khorne, but I don't think anybody's going to play Khorne, even though I think there's a sleeper in that book.
I agree. And Bloodthirsters are always scary.
Yeah.
And I feel like it just got overlooked. And I don't really fully understand why it got overlooked.
Well, I have kind of an opinion, and that only really formed after seeing the Lumineth book. And that's that they're doing kind of the same thing that Lumineth are doing, but their own way, because their runes are essentially army wide, right?
Yeah.
And it's not, I think it's, what is it, just 2 units that people can do runes on
for LRL,
Lumineth? Whereas like with Khorne, your blood tithe points affects mostly army wide stuff. So I think there's something there. And it didn't really become apparent until these new releases. I'd love to see some Khorne there. But the main scaries, are they really that scary? Yes, 100%. Do I care? Yes. 70%. Am I going to be fine? 110%. Because I got my plan. I painted my army. I came consistent.
Yeah.
That's a good way to go. And you have to give the recap on the tournament once it's done and see how Malal's forces fared in the Sparkle Party. But I think we've probably come to a pretty reasonable spot, and we've given everyone a pretty cogent message. So
it's a good place here.
Yeah, let's let the dust settle, stick with your guns, and build a plan.
So what's the last one?
Molar? Incisor?
Molar.
You need like a really incisive comment.
Yes.
Malar. Yeah.
There's no real comment that we can make, like dad jokes. None of these dad jokes for Malal will have any bite.
Hello, everybody. It is Rocco, your boy, coming at you once again with another Always Strikes Last promo. That's right. Ring that bell. Leave a like, a subscribe. On whatever platform you're listening to us on, be it YouTube, be it Podbean, whatever you got these days, so you can keep up to date. And don't forget, we have a Patreon if you want to, give us a thank you for all the stuff we put out. That gets you into our member-exclusive Discord. And if you want to be an even bigger supporter, we've got a merch store.